Chat, and I have my wonderful co-host, Miss Nexie.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good time right now and had a good day. Um,
Yes.
hello, hello.
Yes. So because we have no topic, we're just gonna just this is gonna be just a laid back, chilling, talking about, the channel, and I feel like probably just stating to people who are new here. Me and Miss Next, we do the sip and chat on Thursdays around 9 p.m., 9:30 Eastern Standard Time every Thursday, and we talk about trauma healing and healthy relationships and things like that. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Miss Nexie.
And unhealthy relationships, and family dynamics and childhood trauma. We talk about everything. We start with one topic and we end up in five or six different ones by the end of it. But we try to stay focused as much as we can.
Yeah. And one of the things that I love about the sip and chat and what we do over here, I love that we're just like we don't try to put on. We don't try to be like anybody else we see. We don't go and get material and say, let's talk about this. These are things that we just say straight from our heart, from our chest. Like this is I said I think this is something we need to talk about, and we just go for it. So there's no rehearsals.
You know that the funny thing about that is that sometimes, Miss Marlene, you'll be talking about something. I'm like, oh my God, I needed to talk about this today. How many times have I said that to you? Like,
Yes.
oh my God, I really needed to bring this out today. I was having a hard day, hard time, whatever. And I
Mhm.
really needed to, get all this out of my chest. But yes, we're not like anyone else because we don't want to, we're lazy. We don't want to do
Yeah.
research.
But you
I'm
know what I
saying it.
think.
I'm saying it.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that's what makes our sip and chat different from other people, Miss Nexie, is because we are not trying to put on. We're not trying to be something
But we're not.
weird or strange. We're just ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. We're not trying to be something we're not. And I applaud. I mean, I'm very very. I have a lot of respect for people that go above and beyond. Doing their research, bringing all the type of information, to the front line and doing all of that. But a lot of them that I've heard, in other channels is they have, they're either psychologists, a therapist, or things like that. So they're familiar with the topics and they bring it to the front line, knowing because they have either studied it or have dealt with patient wise or do the research that they need to do. And I applaud them. I'm very grateful that they do have things like that. But we're not like that. We talk about our experiences, how we got out of our trauma, how we're getting over our childhood trauma because it's a lifelong thing. You don't get over that right away. It takes a lifetime to kind of like get over that trauma, but we're doing the best we can with what we were handed, right?
Yeah, and I think that that's the important part is that we can't control, the families we were born into. We can't control sometimes the relationships that we get because you go into the relationship thinking that a person is this way and then you find out that they're another way. But it's about moving forward past those things like, okay, this happened to me as a child, and I think it may be time for me to face some of these underlying issues, because even when you try to lie to yourself and conceal, oh, I'm okay, because I did that for a long time, Miss Nexie.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
okay. Oh yeah.
Mm,
Oh yeah, I'm doing
I'm
great.
cool.
I'm fabulous.
Yeah, nothing
And
happened. Like, that trauma that resurfaced, because I was looking at something, reading something, watching something. Yeah, I'm cool. Nothing wrong here. Everything is in check. Gots to go. And yes, I'm cool.
Yeah,
I don't need
and you know you're
anyone.
not.
Exactly. You're breaking inside, and you're gonna go home and lock yourself in your room and cry your heart out.
Mhm.
But we're okay.
And but that's the thing, Miss Nexie, is those are the some of the things that we want to heal and break. And I think it's a part of the generational brokenness because I grew up in that environment. I'm just speaking for myself. I grew up in that environment of feeling like, you have to fake it. You go out there and you put on a plastic smile because, you hate your job and you hate the way people treat you around you, but you just got to grin and bear it. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I feel like if you have a job that you hate, you need to find a job that you love. If you don't have good, healthy relationships, you need to ask yourself, why do I keep allowing myself to keep these people in my life? It's us contributing to a healthier mindset and focus because when you start feeling like I don't deserve to be run over, then you ask yourself, why don't I? And
Hmm.
am I setting boundaries? I feel like one healthy habit begets another.
Amen to that. But for me, Miss Marlene, I think that, and I went to, through therapy. I went to therapy. It helped me a great deal. And, but the thing here, and which it is with any therapy that you have, right? You have to practice it. You cannot just say, I went to and I did that, and okay, it's gone now. And I'm gonna, I've learned a lot. I'm gonna go through life kind of applying it. No, if you want to succeed on therapy or anything that can help you, you have to apply it every day. You need to talk. And what we're doing here, which is what I was telling you the other day, is that when you go to therapy, you have someone to talk to, you do your work, you help yourself, you get over whatever it is. But after therapy is done, you never open up like that to others. You
Mhm.
don't. You know what I mean? Because you don't have that support system. For me, Miss Marlene, what we do here in the sip and chat is like an extension of that therapy, because we're opening up to the world, right? With our imperfections, our mishaps, our traumas, our everything. But we're doing it in a way that people can relate. And that's the thing for me, is this is like an extension of that, because as you and I discuss certain topics and we talk about this and that, the therapy comes back and I start, oh, yeah, I remember I did this when I used to get this type of way with this topic, right? Like SA or abuse
Anything
or grape.
abusive.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
abuse or grape or anything like that.
Hmm.
You talking about it with you and our chatters, it's a big relief, it's a big deal to me, because it's not in my head anymore, and I feel like, yes, I'm not in therapy, but I have someone that I can talk to. You are that person to me. I can
Hmm.
come, we can talk, we let ourselves feel those emotions, be vulnerable, because it is a very vulnerable thing when you open yourself up to people. But
Yeah.
I wanted us to do this, and I like doing this so that people understand that they're not alone. That keeping
Mhm.
it inside of them is not going to help them heal. It's not going to make them feel better. It's not going to, erase it from their lives, their memories. You can only get over things if you are practicing, either, if you broke a leg, you have to practice walking the right way so your leg gets, doesn't get bad after the break, right? So the same thing with us, our minds, our hearts, our souls, we need to let out our worries, our fears, our pain, our
Mhm.
our anxieties, everything that we can let out and discuss with somebody else. That is for me, a form of therapy, but with friends, which is even
Yeah.
better than with someone I'm paying. And that's
Yeah.
why I like this.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you, Nexi, because I love this space that you and I have created. And I love that I shifted the channel because, before over here, I used to do like reviews and stuff like that.
What
And,
haven't you done in here?
there's lots of, content out there on this YT space that can cover that. I wanted to really started to get into some issues and talk about some of those things and not be embarrassed, not be ashamed because nobody can tell your story like you can, you know?
Hmm.
And there has to be more people having those conversations. Like, I grew up and we didn't communicate about anything, we kept everything inside. And even though you may be an adult, you are still in the mindset of having the like being a little child because you haven't allowed yourself this, you didn't have those spaces to, I say this and you say that. When you get to
Yeah,
be older, you may feel like what only my opinion matters, so you may become very dominant, very
yeah.
controlling.
We didn't outgrow our trauma because we didn't have that type of family where you can talk about anything. Correct?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole point, that regardless of whatever situation, whatever you were raised in, because not everybody grows up in it's a toxic environment. Some people grow up in a very loving, wonderful family unit, and that's great. But why we have the sip and chat is there are some that have not. And we need to be understanding that everybody is not on the same, you know,
Yeah,
had the same situations. We need to hear other people's perspective and not just have a narrow mindset of, oh, this is the way I grew up and everything was fine with me, so everything should be fine with you.
it is something. It's um, I was talking to someone a few days ago um about I went somewhere and the child from this person kept on like hitting me in the back of the head, like with a toy or whatever, right? I turned around a couple of times and I smiled and I looked at the mom, right? Like saying, hey, I'm here, enjoying this time with this person, and your child is hitting me. And then he pulled my hair a couple of times and I told him no, because he's not.
Yeah.
And this is not even my grandchild, nothing. It's somebody else's kid. And the lady, the mom, is looking at this little boy doing all these things, looking at me and not saying a thing, nothing.
Hmm.
And I looked at her and I said, excuse me, ma'am. I said, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're really busy right now. I go, but can you please tell your son to stop? Because he keeps on hitting me in the head and pulling my hair, and I don't like it. And she rolled her eyes like, oh. And then she told the little boy, she talked to him, right? Like, you don't do this, blah, 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 blah. You're not supposed, she didn't say no, that's not right. And then she talked to him about, I don't know, whatever. And then sat down, the little kid sat down for like 5 seconds and then started all over again,
Hmm.
to the point where I had to get up because I'm thinking, if this is all you did, instead of putting it on her side, right? Saying you're not going to be on that side because you're bothering these people, let me sit you down here with me and I'm going to have control, whatever. No, she put him back on our side. So I was like, you know what? Let's go. So I asked the waiter if we could move, and we did. And you could see her, like her face so upset. She was very upset, and I don't know what she mumbled. I didn't care at this point. But I'm thinking, I get it. You want to parent your children different ways, right? You don't want to upset them. You don't want to traumatize them. You don't want to do all these things. And I get that, Miss Marlena, the parenting ways that people are are doing now. It's totally different on how we grew up. But
Yeah,
this is
Miss
what I,
Nexie, Miss
uh
Nexie,
huh.
I think they're calling it gentle parenting.
Yeah, but this is what I have to say about that. And again, I'm just saying it from a mother of four perspective, grown adults that are really good members of society, hardworking, well behaved. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying this as a mother who raised four kids. I get it, it's gentle parenting, and I understand that that's what you think is going to work. And the problem with that, Miss Marlene, is that my father used to say education starts at home. That's
Mm-hmm.
when you become, when you tell your children you have to have manners and enforce them there. You need to sit down when you're eating and enforce it there because education starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
Manners begin there too. Now, I get that they want to do that, but the problem with this is that the kids are so brought up in this way, sensitive. We need to soft parent, whatever. The world is gonna kick their tush when they come out to the world because the world is not soft world, soft job parenting type of style, soft
Mm-hmm.
job, I mean, taking the bus type of thing, so the world is gonna teach them that that way of parenting is okay as long as you are giving them discipline, right? Teaching them how to be a good member of society. Because if gentle parenting means you're not supposed to tell the child no, which somebody told me the other day, oh no, no, don't say that. We don't tell her no. We distract her. And I said, in my house, this is my house, right? Yeah, no, in my house, I do say no. When you're in your house, you can say whatever you want, but here it's no, or you got to go. So you
Mm-hmm.
pick because this is my house, and you know what I mean. Like, you saw your family members coming here and growing up with the no. I mean, what's wrong with no? So what am I supposed to say, right? So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I get it. You want to do that type of parenting. It's okay, but there's a way to do that type of parenting so that your child,
Mm-hmm.
can have good manners, good work ethic, good school ethic, everything that needs to be empowered in these children.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm seeing more than none that that is not the case because the self parenting of the child that I met when this child was born 13 years ago is not like the soft parenting has created a monster, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just soft. There's no parenting. And that's what I was telling this person. You're just doing soft. You're not doing parenting. He's
Yeah.
supposed to mind you when you say sit down. She's supposed to mind you when you say stop. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's what I was thinking the other day. I'm like, I get it. You want to do self parenting? Go knock yourself out. I
Right.
didn't, right? But that's okay. Go ahead. Just don't bring him to my house and expect for me to be soft because
You know,
I'm not.
Miss Nexie, I see, and I grew up on the other end of the spectrum where, uh, the term that people don't like to say, but I'm just gonna say it. I grew up, and I feel that the way my parents parented was abusive. I believe that.
Mm,
That's just, maybe they didn't think so, but in my way of, being an adult and what I've learned and stuff, it was because you shouldn't be hit in the face, and you shouldn't be threatened, and things taken away from you that you need to for essential for survival. And they used to think that was okay, it was cool, it's funny, and putting you down and things like that. So I don't believe in things at either end of the spectrum. I don't believe in things should be abusive, but I also don't believe that it should be a free for all either for children.
yeah, exactly. And you know what? I I don't I don't think I will call mine abusive. Maybe neglectful, right? On
Okay.
the on my upbringing, because we were gone all day. They didn't know half the day where we were at. Actually, no, more like 80% of the
Yes.
day they had no idea where we was at. So they didn't know where we were at. I'm sorry. And so, neglectful, kind of like, I got my hands busy, or I got five, so if one is missing, it's okay, I still have four. Kind of like
Yes.
that. That's how I felt. Like you don't feel special, right? Because there are so many kids in the family that just let him go. Peace of mind. Just sit down and take a deep breath and let him run around all day. They'll come back at night. So they didn't know what kind of if we were in harm's way, right, or whatever.
Hmm.
But for me, it wasn't abusive. Maybe neglectful, and we lived in different times anyway, right? It wasn't as bad as it is now. But it was
Exactly.
getting there. But it was getting there. It was already kind of like on that side of the spectrum. It was the world was changing. But
Yeah.
again, for me, it wasn't abusive. It was more again neglectful. But there were rules and regulations, regardless of how neglectful it was. You were supposed to come back at this time. At your own key to get into the house, and forbids you lost that key. If they
Hmm.
told you you're not to go out, you better not go out, and you will mind it. You'll be like, I can't go out. Your friends will come over because I remember, hey, come on, no, I can't. I gotta wait for my dad to get home. He'll be back in 2 hours. We're gonna play,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. I gotta wait. And that's the thing that even though it was neglectful sometimes, or again, I cannot speak of abuse because I wasn't physically abused. I think they should have given me a couple of pow pows, and I think I would have been a better person.
See, Miss Nexie, my thing is, in talking about discipline with children, it's a very sensitive, topic for many. But I'll just say it this way: I don't believe in leaving things to oh, you know what you're doing. I do believe in having conversations with children. And I think that's
Yes.
one of the things that I was thirsty for when I was younger. It was everything because I said so. And because I'm
Hmm.
your mother, because I'm your father. And it's like,
And because I brought you
okay.
into this world, I can take you out.
Yeah, and that was the only explanation you got. And at a certain point I do understand, and I believe in respecting your parents. I grew up with that, respecting your elders. So I should say, but also you have to teach children, why do you respect them. As I got older, I had to learn that respect is something that's earned. You don't just, even though they're your parents, but
Yep.
it's because of, I respect you because you respect me. Having boundaries and saying, okay, if I have the door closed, oh, this is my house, there is no my, I pay everything in here. You know what I'm saying, Miss Nexie? Like,
Yes.
I believe in like things being balanced. And I think that's what I got from my childhood, even though mine was very, triggering, a triggering dysfunctional thing. That it kind of got better as I got older, because as my parents got older, they learned things. And when they became a parent, a grandparent, you know, they mellowed out and learned, okay, maybe I shouldn't be a dictator or raising with an iron fist. So it's a lot of that stuff
Yeah,
too.
well, my father always said, Miss Marlene, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but my father always said that respect is something that you have to earn. And I remember him saying, I was probably 6 or 7 years old when I walked in to my house, and there were some family members there. I don't remember. I think it was like around Easter time. I think that's what they were there because they were going to go to the beach. I don't remember. And I walked in, and I'm this little thing running around with my friends and my neighbors and stuff. And a couple of my aunts said something really mean, right? And they stopped me in my tracks, and they pull my hair because I remember that. And I was like, ow. And then my aunt said, hey, your elders are here. Stop running around and say hello. Don't be so disrespectful. And my father saw that. My father jumped from, he was like in a hammock with my uncles talking. He jumped out. He came over and he said, how dare you touch my daughter? Don't pull her hair. And then she says, well, she's been disrespectful. And then my dad says, who's been disrespectful? Well, this little one, she didn't even say hi. I'm her elder. She's supposed to be respectful to her elders. And that's when my dad said, no, I taught my children that respect is something that it's earned from them to you and from you to them. And this is her house. She didn't do anything to you. She was just running around playing with her friends. They're children. So if you want her to respect you next time, start begin by respecting her. And my dad goes, go run, baby. Is your head okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just she pulled my hair. And he's like, go play. And he had a few more words. And then all I saw after that was my aunt going to my uncle, let's go, blah, 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 blah. And they left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See,
But my dad
see,
did say that. That is
see, and
earned. And that's what I taught my children too, Miss Marlene. You walk into somebody's house, says good afternoon, good morning, whatever. Whoever doesn't want to answer you, hey, that's on them. But don't, you know what I mean? Like don't allow them to disrespect you as well.
yeah,
It's respect is earned.
mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I definitely learned in, maturing and healing and learning boundaries and stuff. It's You have to remember that just because you were raised a certain way or you've been through things a certain way, you don't have to remain in that space. You can learn, you can grow, you can want better, you can shift a lot of things. And it's really sad to me that so many individuals can never move past those dark spaces, and traumas that they have had to deal with. And I know I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but as adults, when are we going to stop making excuses and breaking another generation? Because that's exactly what happens. Another generation of toxicity, another generation of toxicity. Somebody has to break it and say, no, we're going to communicate, we will apologize, we're going to respect one another, and things like that. But somebody has to start it.
Again, I think that a lot of us, you see, there's things that I changed with my children. Um, on the way I was raised, there's things that I changed with them. Communication was one of it. I had a lot more communication with my kids. They could come to me for whatever they needed, whatever they wanted. Sometimes the conversations are uncomfortable because they're your children, right? You flinch at asking you for certain things, but you do it because you want them to know that they can trust you, they can come to you for whatever. It doesn't matter, even if it's red rum. Let's go hide the body. No, I'm just kidding. But I did change certain things, and also on the ability for them to explore the world. My sisters and I were more kept in home. We couldn't go anywhere because my dad, the times too, and where we lived. People talk, so my dad always kept us, very close and closed up at home until we married or whatever. But I wanted my kids to be, especially my daughters, to be freer than that. Still boundaries. You can go. I want you back at this time. And where you're going, that's exactly where I want to find you. Don't move around. And if you do, let me know. Because I want to make sure that the same way I'm trusting you right now and you're trusting me to say that you're going here, I want to keep on trusting you. But if you lie to me, then that trust is broken. And so, but I did that so that, my girls didn't feel like we did with my sisters, that we didn't enjoy life because we were so cooped up.
Yes, I agree with that, Miss Nexie. That's I think it's a wonderful thing that so many are creating, healing and communication. And I have to say, Miss Nexie, it was something that was very uncomfortable for me, very
Mm,
uncomfortable. I remember like because at the time when I started therapy, my siblings had already had children and things like that. So it was like the next generation, and it's like my natural instinct when they would do something was to hit them across their face or to do something or throw something at them, and I'd be like, no, 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 no. no, we're going to just say, don't do that. That's upsetting, Auntie, you know? And I remember the first
Mm-hmm.
time I did that, Miss Nexie, I was so proud of myself because it was like, no, because your first reaction is always to go back to what you were comfortable doing. Screaming, yell, throw something. My first instinct is always to react in a toxic way. And I always have
Mm-hmm.
to remind myself, okay, we're calm, we're grown now, we have control, we're balanced. And sometimes I have to say that out
It's
loud,
not
Miss
your
Nexie.
kid.
Yeah.
It's not your kid. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to hit him. You're not supposed to yell at him. No, I know.
Yeah.
Me too, Miss Marlene. Sometimes we overreact, or we react the way that they reacted with us sometimes, right?
Hmm.
And I had to also remind myself.
Yes, I agree with that. That's something that I most definitely had to do myself. I had to learn how to just chill. Yep.
Exactly, Miss Marlene. Exactly. I'm not
So
sure if you can hear me, Miss Marlene.
I can. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
good, good, good. Yes, yes, yes. No, it's because I lost the microphone for a minute. So I was like, whoa, where's my
Okay.
microphone? So, yeah, I had to remind myself, like, even now, with my grandchild, I know that, she is my grandbaby, and I can do whatever, but, I have to respect the way my daughters, because that's her mom, the way they are bringing her up, right? But at the same
Hmm.
time, I still have to be me, and I don't like certain things. And my daughter knows that. And she's like, hey, it's your house. You do with it as, whatever you want, because this is your home. And she's touching everything, and you know who you are. You go ahead, mom. I'm not here.
Hmm.
Don't just go to town with her, because I'm not here. And if I do discipline, and she runs over there, she tells her, like, hey, you were doing this. That's why she did this to you. Like, she reinforces that, not babies, and makes me look like, because she knows I'm not, I love kids, right? She knows I will never
Hmm.
abuse her child or any child like that. But I
Right.
still have to be strict with her, right?
You're
So as she
you're
doesn't grow up.
because you're yeah, because you're always gonna be like, this is my space and you have to respect my space. And I think that's one of the issues, Miss Nexie, I have sometimes with people who are quote unquote friends or family. um, they will not discipline their children, or
Mm,
not even outside of children. Sometimes their spouse or somebody else in the family, they don't know how to have control over their mouth, or they come in and touch stuff, or go into spaces that they step over boundaries and say, because you're family or because you're friends, like everything should be okay.
mm,
That's
mm-hmm,
uh that's something that I don't agree, and that's one of those toxic behaviors that I had to be like, I don't like this.
mm. Yep.
Yeah.
I think I had kind of like I had it was kind, I don't know if it's something when you somebody has a significant other, and they disrespect in a way, the mom of their partner, or the dad, or you know what I mean, like some siblings sometimes they're they're very disrespectful. I don't like that. And sometimes I can't keep my mouth shut. And sometimes I do say, you know what, blah, 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 right? I overstep my boundaries, but it's because I don't like when they are disrespectful to, and the significant other doesn't say anything.
Yeah, Miss Nexie. That's usually when I have a problem as well. I have I have a problem. Okay. I'm gonna step. I know I'm gonna step on some shoes, some toes of some people. So, Miss Nexie, you know what I always say:
I got
put
him
your
on.
boots on. Okay,
Got
move your
him on,
toes
Miss
out the
Marlene.
way. Everybody, move your toes out the way. because this is a thing. A lot of people believe that because of the way that they are in their own home, you know, it could be parents, friends, whoever. They feel that the way that they are in their house, where they just let everything go, or they let people can say whatever they want to say, or people can break stuff, or just they don't have boundaries where they are. And
Mm-hmm.
when you remind them you're not in your house, and then they want to be offended, that's what gets to me. Oh, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Nexie.
Oh, you're welcome,
um
Miss Marlene. No,
they
and
what oh,
for
go
me,
ahead.
Miss Marlene, is more like, I come from a large family, but I don't know if it's because we were brought up that way, or because that's just who we are. But like, if I had a problem with my mother-in-law, which I never did, but let's say I would have, I will go to my husband and tell him, hey, can you ask your mom not to do this thing, right? Or can you ask your mom? Or, anywhere I will see her, I will say hi and make sure she was comfortable. He will do the same thing. If my mom did something, he will come to me. So the thing here is that I see that a lot of in-laws are getting disrespected, and a lot of their childrens are really not standing up for them, not doing anything, like not saying, hey, don't talk to my mom like that. If you have a problem, tell me, and then I'll talk to her, right? They're just not no, I don't want to say defending, because they're not fighting, right, or anything like that, but they're not really saying anything. They're not setting boundaries when it comes to respect, which I think that it should be common sense, right? But I'm seeing it more and more. The younger generation is a little bit more forward. um they don't, they come into the house and they don't even say hi, they just go straight into the other person's room, and it's so weird. Or they
Yeah.
talk to the parents a certain kind of way, to their significant other's parents, and it's just weird. It's just weird for me. And I had
Yes.
an incident this past weekend on something like that, and I got up and I said, what is so wrong with you? This is, your mother's house. Have that kid come over and say hi to her. This is her house. She just came in like a donkey, straight to the back, not even say anything to your mom. This is her house, not yours. Have a little bit more respect and talk to the kid. Teach her something that your mama taught you.
Wow.
And the boy was like, I'm
It's
so sorry.
it um Ms. Nexie. Oh, I have to say hi, Manifest Real. I missed in the
Hey,
chat. I hope you guys are all doing
hey
great.
everyone.
Yeah. Miss Nexie, we're just talking here like we're on the telephone.
uh, Reminisce.
But it's the truth though, Miss Nexie. It's like, okay, when people, it's a thing. How does the saying go? People bring who they are everywhere they go.
Hmm.
It's like some people don't understand that it's like certain places you don't come and be disrespectful, like come. I don't care who it is. It could be your mother, it could be your sister, it could be anybody, your friend. It's just some things that you don't do. Like I would never, I don't care who it is, I would never just come into somebody's house and go straight in their refrigerator.
Mm.
That's just me. I don't know. Like, some people feel like, well, I'm your sister. I'm your best friend. I'm like, yeah, but
Mm.
I still will have the courtesy
Well,
to say,
ask.
do you mind if
Yes.
I get something to drink?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Like,
But you
I
have
I
to be respectful.
I don't know. But Miss Nixie, I feel that a lot of people these days feel like those things don't apply to them. Like it's been a lot of desensitizing with
Yeah.
the social media and the telephones, because we're in this microwave society. People feel like, well, I don't want to wait until they come back. So I'll just go in the fridge and get what I want, and I'll tell them,
And
no,
and besides, Miss Marlene, it's
no.
not practiced at home either. They're not practicing this at home. My children, the first thing when they were little, the first thing we'll do when we come to somebody's house, good afternoon, good evening, or when we're leaving, good night, bye everyone, bye uncle, bye this, bye that. Now they don't even the kids don't even say that. Like they don't even go there. It's so weird. But I taught them since they were little, that they were supposed to be polite when they come in somebody else's house or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And now they don't do that.
Yeah, and Miss Nixie is so weird that kids now, they don't say hello. It's like you come and they'll come in, whatever, they see other adults or other people, and the kid will just come and just stare at you.
Mm.
And you're like, "Hello?" And then they'll just keep looking at, I was like, I'm looking at them like, "Are you mute?" Or I was like, "Can this kid talk?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, they talk." And I was like, "Hello, can you come over and talk to me?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, no, I went to somebody's house and their granddaughter was there. It's a friend of mine, right? And their
Mhm.
granddaughter is there and their grandchildren are there. And I said good afternoon and I came in and they looked at me like I was an alien. Then I walked in, I say, "Hi guys, hi everyone." They got up with the girl was with on a phone and the kid was with a tablet, and I think the other one had a phone. I'm not sure, but I said hi. None of them answered my hi back. They just got up and they went to their rooms. And I looked at my friend and she's like, "Oh, kids." And I'm like, "What do you mean, kids? If that wasn't my granddaughter, I would have gone, hey, say hi." She said hi to you. Answer back now.
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, no, you wouldn't." I said, "Yes, I would. I'm crazy. I would do that
Yeah,
because
I do.
it's
No, and I do the
disrespectful."
same. I do the same thing. I don't care. Even grown people, like, if you, like, a family member or a friend comes in and they just come in and sit down, and I'm like, oh, like, snap my finger. Like, I don't know, it triggers me back, Miss Nexie. I'm like, hey, you didn't say hello. like, I was like, what's your problem?
Hmm.
I don't know. It's like it's certain things, Miss Nixie, that I feel that a lot of people have become desensitized because of computer and this and that, everything being so fast, and getting everything that they want, that a lot of people have become very rude. Like, manners like hello and goodbye and thank you and I'm sorry have been removed from people's vocabulary, if they even
It's
possess it.
old school.
Yeah, yeah, they said, my as a my nephews and other people in my that's old fashioned. We don't say
Yes.
we don't say good afternoon. I said, well, you need to learn to.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good
If you're in my
afternoon when
house,
you
you
step in
do.
here.
Shoot.
Yeah,
If
in
you're in
this
my
house you say
house,
good
you do.
afternoon.
If you're coming to my house, you better say that or I'll kick you out because I'll do it.
Yep.
Your mom knows that I will do it. She was raised by me too. So, yeah, she knows.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, Miss Nixie. I don't understand how other people think that that's okay. I don't
Yeah,
understand. Like, oh well, if they wanted to say hello, they would say it. No, it's not. If you want to,
exactly.
all the time, you say hello, all the time.
No, well, she doesn't feel like saying it today. I don't give a. This is my house. If she doesn't feel like saying it, then I don't feel like having you guys here. Get out. Again, it's my house. No, I think Miss Martinez because it's not practiced at home, right? They don't, they come in, they're all in their devices doing their thing. And, I see it like all the time with my family. I see the kids, my niece's kids and stuff. They're all in their own little world. They don't even, acknowledge you when you walk in. You say hi, they don't. They just whatever. They continue playing, they continue watching their TV or whatever. They don't even engage with you. And eye contact, nothing.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
weird.
one of and Miss Nexie, that is something I don't care. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't think I have many friends or many people, because I'm not going to let people disrespect me in my house and say, "Well, we
Hmm.
don't we don't say hello and good morning every minute and thing like it's something weird." And I said, "Yep." I said, "Just you two, you can hit the door. That's it. I don't
My
care.
kids are
This is my
Miss Marlene,
house."
my children are old. Like they're literally like in their 40s. And they still, if they stay in my house, they come into my house. Morning, mom. Afternoon, mom. And thank you, mom, for the meal. It was delicious. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. They're always like that because that's the way I raised them. And again, I'm not saying soft parenting or whatever it is that they want to call it that doesn't work. It will work if you also educate them the right way, right? Teach them manners, teach them to, be obedient, and follow the rules at work or whatever. Because nowadays, even at work, Miss Marlene, nobody's lasting at their jobs. They get upset if they're called out on something that they did wrong. They don't want to be told that they are wrong.
Mhm. And I
And
and
work
that
ethic is non existent.
and I think that's the issue, Miss Nexie, and all the loved ones in here. That is the issue. Nobody wants to be the bad guy and to say this is not okay, because they want to be, I'm just going to say it, and I'm not trying to be offensive to other people, but some people just want to be their kids' friends. They don't want to
No,
be their
not your best
parent.
friend. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I'm your parent first. And then we can talk about being friends.
Yeah. For me, like my mom used to say, we can't be friends until you can pay a bill in this house. When you start paying some bills, when you got some money, some income, she said, that's when I care about your opinion. Before then, you are my child. That's
Yeah,
old
no, I
school.
I was laughing when you said about, the not respecting the doors closed, blah blah blah. Well, I had an incident with my girls growing up, and they will get upset and slam their bedroom door, right? So my eldest used to do that a lot. Oh, she'll slam the door, and I hate this life, blah 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 blah, whatever. And
Hate this
so one
place.
day that, yeah, I hate this place. When I'm 18, I'm moving out. So she will slam the door when she was upset with her siblings or with us or whatever, and she was just bam. So one day she got to me that weekend. I took the door out when she was gone to school, and then she comes in from school and she sees, she walks into her room and it didn't register, right? And they put the backpack and they start getting, something to eat, blah blah blah, telling me about their day. And then I've always I got my kids used to, when they walked into the house, they will take their shoes off, leave them at the front door, by the front door, and
Mm-hmm.
then walk into the room, change whatever they had on, and put their pajamas on, right? Their house clothes. Normally it was pajamas. They will put their PJs on, and then anyway. So she comes in, blah blah blah, and she went straight back because she had to tell me something that had happened at school that was tragic with her and her ex best friend. It was a tragedy, Miss Marlene. It was a tragedy because they were wearing like the same color, and her best friend, who was her ex best friend at this point, didn't want to go change. So now they're not friends
Oh,
anymore because, anyway, so that was tragic. And so she's there, and then she goes, and I'm laughing as she's leaving to go to her room to change. I have a smile on my face because I can almost hear, like, what the, where is
yes.
my door? And then she comes out, she's like, what happened? Well, did something happen to my door? Because I don't have a door. And I said, yeah, I know. I just wanted to show you that it's a privilege to have a door in this household. When you slam
Hmm.
it, every freaking time you're upset, when you freaking slam your door and get everyone like scared, jump from whatever, or their ears almost pop because of the
The
power, the force
pressure.
that you use. Yeah, with the force that you
Uh-huh.
use to close it. I said, when you do that in this house, the more you do it, the less possibilities of you getting that door again, another door is. So from now on, since I've been telling you forever, stop doing that. I'm going to take your door. Stop doing that. I'm going to take it away. I said, since I'm done. And this weekend you did it 5 times. I count them. I said, I have the times too. I wrote them down. You have
Mm.
no door. Okay. And when am I going to get it back? I said, whenever I feel like it. In your case, it can be until you move out, which is not that far. It's about a year off, right? A year away? Yeah, probably then. Oh my God. And then she goes to her dad. She calls her dad. And then she tells him, Dad, your wife has taken the door
Oh.
away out of our room. And then dad goes, Yeah, I know. I did it. She asked me to do it and I took it out this morning. Oh my God.
Oh my.
So Miss
Oh.
Marlene, she had
Oh,
to
you're
beg,
the
she had to
worst.
behave, she had to do all this. I mean, merits for me because I told her, I said, I want to teach you that having the door here is for for your privacy, for your safety, for everything, and it's a privilege because back in the day, houses didn't have doors in the bedrooms, only at the front and the back. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
from that
true
day
though, Miss
forward,
Nancy.
when she will get upset and wanted to slam, she will think twice and say, "No, I don't want to not have my door anymore."
Yeah. Yeah. I.
And that is
The,
a way, a kind of soft parenting, Miss Marlene. But it comes
mm-hmm.
with consequences, and with teaching them too that they gotta control their
They need to
impulses
control their
sometimes.
anger. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that nobody really wants to talk about those things. Like, it's not a comfortable situation to tell people, how you feel. It's hard, but it's also
Mm-hmm.
another thing that's important to not let people run over you. And yeah, we were talking about kids, but also this can transfer into the workplace. This could go to friendships. This goes to people that you meet day to day and in your life,
Yep.
whatever it is that you're doing, people you encounter. There's so many people that don't know boundaries and rules and common courtesy, manners, which I feel like didn't we I was like, didn't we learn about, you know, do unto others, be kind to other people, things
Uh
like that,
huh.
like in kindergarten?
Yes, we did. But Miss Marlene, I wanted to say something here that we're talking about this topics and this topic right now. But I want to say something that I've noticed between how we were brought up, you and me, because again, we come from almost the same type of background, same type of family.
Yes.
But with my children, I noticed that for you and I, it's very difficult to open up to someone. It's very difficult to say how we feel, what we're feeling in the moment, how we feel when they do something, what we want in return, from them. It's very difficult for us to voice, to use our voice for certain things, right? Because we weren't
Mhm.
accustomed to, we weren't used to that. We weren't brought up that way. We weren't brought up with, let me share my feelings with my mom or my dad or my siblings, right?
Mhm.
But I notice in the upbringing of my kids, they don't have that issue. It's funny because they'll come to me and they'll say whatever it's in their mind. Again, cringy as it is, I'll be like, oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. But this is my child. So since I got him used to that, you can come to me for whatever. They come to me for things that I will never have done that, with my dad was a boy, right? But even to my sisters, I will say I will give certain amount of info, but not all of it, right? Because I had that, you know, again, we weren't brought up with the ability to share. Now I am sharing more with my sisters, more
Mhm.
intimacy than I was back in the day. But with my kids, they don't have that problem, boys or the girls. They come to me with anything they need, whatever is going on, whatever's happening, whatever weird thought they have in their mind, and they feel very comfortable doing so. And I'm very proud of
Mhm.
myself. And I'm going to pat myself in the back because even though I had a lot of regulations, a lot of things that they had to act right for, before they can get the perks that I was offering in my in my establishment, um, there was a lot of openness. I wasn't their best friend. I was their mother, but I was the one person that will go to the end of the earth to rescue them
Mhm.
and do whatever that it was in my power to make sure that they were okay. So they have that communication line with me. And I'm very grateful that I was able to break that cycle on our next generation. Now, my granddaughter is going to probably have even a better relationship with her mama
Mhm.
because her mama doesn't have the same handicap that you and I have. The same, that I can't because I'm not used to it. It feels weird. What are they going to think about me? That I'm soft, that I'm
Mhm.
this, that I'm that, right? That I'm needy. So, I always had an open door policy with my kids. Whatever you need, even if I'm in my room, come over, knock, and I'll come out and we can talk.
Yep.
So I'm glad that I did that because I like seeing them sharing with their friends or with whoever the spouse is freely, not like you and I that couldn't go there.
Mhm. And
Still sometimes cannot go there.
right, exactly. And I want to read some of these comments. I'm sorry I missed some of the comments in the chat, everybody. Manifest Reality says, I know what you mean, Miss Nexie. I click off. And thank you, Nexie, for your super chat, someone said. And let's see what else I missed. Uh oh yeah. Okay, Miss Nexie. Yes, indeed. That's our way. Either you to accept it or you are happy to leave. Yeah, when talk
Hmm.
about yeah, to stay and everything. And
Oh,
she also
don't have a
said
problem with
this,
that.
and she said also said this is why family meetings are important often. Get the issues resolved. And I think that that's something important, but that has to come from a healing space of personal
Hmm.
growth. When I grew up, there was no family meetings. It was only whatever my mother, my father said, and that was it. Kids'
Hmm.
feelings, kids, whatever there was not important. So now I love that. I feel like I went through the fire so that I could be like a more I could be easier to mold. And I'm so happy now for the next generation, like my great nephew and my nephews now, because they're happier. They're so much happier. They have peace. They can communicate. They don't have the scars and the wounds and the trauma that we did. But it only happened because like myself and my siblings, like we really went through it in order for it to say we're not repeating those broken cycles.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly, Miss Marlene. And again, it's all about I'm not saying, and again, we're going back to I'm not your best friend, I'm your parent, right? There's certain topics that are perfect for a best friend, but not for a parent, I
Mhm.
think, right? And so teaching them the difference is what I like about what my kids, because they're older and I can assess every change that I made in myself to be able to be the right kind of parent for them. But the one thing I can tell people, especially when they say, "Oh, I'm not going to be like my mom, I'm not going to repeat that. My kid is never going to feel blah 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 blah." The only thing I smile at people sometimes when they say things like that because I tell them the kind of parenting you're doing is up to the interpretation of the older child that you raised. It's
Mhm.
not about this little one because they don't stay this little. How about if you're that type of parent? Because I've lived with people, I've seen people that are very, very liberal with their kids. They have this kind of relationship that, they do some weird things that I will never do with my kids, right? Some grown up things, like you do with your friends, you have yourself some drinks, and you do things like that. Or they're very open as far as, oh, you can go have fun and you don't have to, you know don't come whenever, just let me know that you're home. And they're teenagers, right? And I've seen those same kids grow up and tell their parents, why were you so free with me? Like, why didn't you protect me? I did so many things. I went through so much as a teenager because of your lack of parenting or your lack of protection. And that parent will criticize me sometimes because I wasn't lenient with my girls and my boys when it came to, no, you're not gonna go. And if you're gonna go, you're gonna be back by 11:30, the latest, right? And if you want, I can pick
Mhm.
you up or they can drop you up, whatever. So, and whose parents' house are you going to? What party is this? Are parents going to be there? Because if not, then you're not going. So all those things that they criticize and thinking that my kids were gonna say, I hate you for not allowing me to do this, it turned around and their kids are saying, you should have protected me more. I'm not going to make that mistake with my child, right? So that's why when people say, oh, my kid, I'm not going to be like my parents. Oh, no, 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 my parents, blah blah blah. And I say, well, you can be one way with this child. That doesn't mean that he's going to appreciate or that she's going to value that you did that, because again, is the interpretation of the child.
Yep.
Parenting a
That.
child is not a perfect thing. You don't have to be perfect because we're human. Only God is perfect. We're not.
Yeah.
So
And,
I tell people, don't go so fast as, oh yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not, because our parents did a lot of good things too, which is why we are
mhm.
who we are now.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why we have to look at ourselves and be honest, and learn to take the good things that we got from our upbringing and then discard the things that were not useful. And that is what I had to do, is I had to pivot. Not just say
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my, because you will get in that mode of saying everything was toxic in my child,
Mm-hmm.
every it wasn't everything. It
Yep.
was it may have been a lot of things, but it wasn't everything. It wasn't everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's that balance, and taking what you can use and discarding the rest. And also, there's some things that maybe you wanted, now that you learned. Like for me, mine was, I learned to communicate. I learned to show affection. I learned to listen. I learned that I wasn't always right, you know? So it's some things that you take the good and the bad, and then
Mm-hmm.
you learn from it, so that you're not going to raise the next generation of scarred human beings.
Children.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, and this is the thing, Miss Marlene. When I went to my friend's house, and then she said, no, 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 don't say no to them, because the child was touching something. I said, no, hey, don't do that. No. And she's like, no, 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 my friend, this is her grandchild. Don't say that. We don't say no to her, to the child. And I said, what? Yeah, the parents, they don't want us to say no to him. They want us to, they're doing that. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You cannot say no to this child here, or anywhere. She goes, no, anywhere. We cannot say no to them. I said, what happens when an employer says no to them? What happens when a teacher says no to them? What happens when an officer says no to them? What happens when a judge says no to them? Oh, well, no, because they're doing it in another way. And I said, oh, okay, okay, no problem. I said nothing, and
Wow.
eventually, yeah, they don't want to use no. And I was like, so how do you, well, we distract them and we do it. And I said, and you want me to, oh, well, this is your house, you're right. I said, I gotta go. I
Wow.
my
There's
stomach
so
is
many things I
hurting.
want to say. There's so much.
Yeah, so you cannot say no. And I said, okay, so no, just what do you mean, like no? Because she's like, oh my god, don't say that, and she scared me. I was like, well, freaked out. I
Mm.
was like, what happened? What did I do? She's like, "You're not supposed to say no to him." And I'm like, "Me?" I said, "Is it a personal thing?" She's like, "Oh, no, no, no. All of us. His parents, they're upbringing, they're bringing him up in a different way, and they don't use no. They use."
Hmm.
She said the parenting style. She said it, and I was like, "What kind of BS parenting is
Yeah.
that?" I said, "What do you mean? Well, how about when somebody at work says no? Are they supposed to, kind of distract them from the no answer? What about, when a police officers and they ask something and say no, are they gonna attack the police? Like, when does this end? Like, how is this child gonna go into the world saying nobody can say no to me because my parents taught me that that's not a good word or whatever? I'm like, what? It was so
That's not
weird, Miss Marlene. I got out
sustainable.
of there faster than I have ever done anything in my life.
That Miss Nexie,
I
that's not
flew
even
out of there, Miss Marlene.
sustainable.
I flew out.
I know. That's not sustainable. That's ridiculous. I don't.
And it's not the
There's
first time I
so much
hear
I could
that.
say.
And it's not the
Mhm.
first time I hear that, Miss Marlene. I have witnessed it with other people in restaurants, at the hospital, telling my nurses, don't say no to her, don't say no to him. Please, just let me know. I'll let me handle this. And I'm like, what the? So it's not
Yeah.
a uncommon type of thing.
Yeah, Miss Nexie, I've seen it. I have seen it. And guess
And
what,
I
Miss
got out of
Nexie?
there
Mm.
because I was about to tell my friend where to go with that nonsense, but her children were there.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said I would have a little bit of the colorful, seasonings that I would have added to that conversation. But you like you said, there were some children there. But but I don't know, Miss Nexie. I know that I am different and I'm built the way that I am. And I am not a person that is one of those my way or the highway person because that was
Yeah,
how
no,
I
no,
grew up.
no.
But one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna allow people to tear up my stuff, to go places that I don't want them there. I'm not gonna let people yell and scream and make and berate people in the house, saying people are stupid and cussing at the because I've seen it like at parties or something going on and the kids are just running everywhere and knocking over stuff, tearing stuff. They're in the bathroom, they turn on the water, they're playing in the it's out
Mm,
of
hmm.
control. We there was one party, Miss Nexie, and I mean this kid was out of control from the moment they got there. They're running, they're bumping into the tables, and it's like food on there, and like, whoa, you almost knocked over the food, and like, so what?
Yep.
and
Again,
I
Miss Marlene, ooh,
and Miss
no,
Nexie, you know me, and
listen,
you know me, Miss
my
Nexie.
hairs. Oh, I can imagine. Your head was probably receding from the hairline. Oh my god, from
No,
all the pulling you were doing.
Miss
Stop
Nexie.
it, Marlene. Stop it.
Miss Nexie, and I didn't even say anything. I just turned my head, and my brother looked at me and says, "Don't." And I was like, "Arr, arr." Oh, it's a lot of restraint,
Miss
it's a
Marlene,
lot of self
when,
control.
when yeah, when she said no, 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 don't say no, I was like, what did I do? I thought that I had committed like a crime in that moment, and I'm like, so I said, you follow this nonsense in your house? That's what I told my friend, and she's like, well, I said, you know what? I gotta go. I picked up my things and I left. And then she called me and because she was texting me and I wasn't answering back, but not because I didn't want to, it's because I was driving, home, and then I stopped by to get something. I'm like, I don't like to be on the phone when I'm driving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got home, like half an hour later, and I have gone far away to visit her, Miss Marlene, almost 45 minutes from my house in traffic.
Wow.
And I was like, we've been best friends for a long time. And I'm like, And knowing me, I said, you're pulling this stunt on me? Like, no. So when I got home, I talked to her, and then I said, you know what? If you ever want to come over to my house, you can come over anytime you want to. I'm not going to drive over there because she's taking care of this little one and another grandchild because the kids are working.
Mm.
And God forbids they put him on a date. But anyway, and I said, so
No.
if you ever want to
Hey.
come visit me, go ahead. But I said, I'm not gonna go to your. I said, I can't. You know me. She goes, yeah, I know, and that's why I was calling you and texting you because I was like, oh my god, knowing her, she probably felt like disrespected or I was offended, I was insulting her, whatever. And I said, no, no, no. I said, you know me, that I don't follow orders very well. I would have been saying no, 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 no until the parents got home and wait for them to say
Mm.
something to me.
Yeah, but Miss Nexie, let me finish my story. Okay, so the party's going on, the kids running everywhere. Miss Nexie, they go and they turn on the faucet in the bathroom,
Yep.
and it's one of those old school faucets, Miss Nexie, not the ones that has the water that that
Oh
goes down the
no.
sink. It's one of those that you have to wait for the water to go down.
Yeah, those
Okay.
old school ones with the little clicker. Oh
So Miss
no.
Nexie, somebody goes and they slide into the water, and everybody
Oh
was like,
no.
yes, and everybody was like
Oh,
irate. Everybody's like, who left the water on? And everybody turns and looks at the kid and the parents are sitting there. The mother gets beat red and just gets up and walks out. No apology.
wow.
No, I'm
No, no, no,
sorry.
no, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no. I'm gonna help clean up the water. Just embarrassed and leaves.
Yep.
And I was
Yep.
like, and I told my brother, and I said I didn't care who heard. I said next time they will not be invited. I don't care if they got mad.
And that was nice.
Yeah, and that was, and my brother's like, come on. He was like, hey, come on, lower your tone, lower. Yeah, I was like, no, there's no lower. Next time they will not be invited.
Again, we all have. I'm not saying I beat up my kids. No, I'm just saying that there's a way to be firm and get your point across, and understand too that people in the real world are not going to stop themselves from saying no to someone just because you think it's a harmful word or whatever. I don't understand what kind of thing that is. What kind of
Miss
parenting. She said it, but I forgot it.
Miss
But she said
Nexie,
it,
but
I
I don't
forgot it.
Miss Nexie, but I still don't understand. I don't know. My mind can't wrap around it because this happened a few weeks ago. My mind still can't wrap around why do you get embarrassed and you didn't say I'm sorry? Correct the child.
Hmm.
Like something had to happen. Like, I'm sorry, everybody. I apologize. Nothing. They just got up and left.
Yep, that's what they
It
do.
was just, it was just like, okay. And then on top of that, Miss Nixon, they're the first persons who get offended when you say nobody under a certain age can come to parties. They get upset.
Hmm.
Yeah, I said, well,
Yep.
we're not having any kids under this age. And they said, I know what that means. You just don't want my kid here. Well, that's what
Yeah,
the
I don't.
invitation says.
That's exactly what it means. I don't want your kid here.
Yeah. And everybody knows because everybody in our group knows that's the only kid. Said, nobody under the age of 5.
and I
That's
get
the
and they
only
get
one in our
offended.
friend group.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they get offended, but they don't stop and think what their child does, that we get offended by her not disciplining this child or not, saying, hey, let's not do this, or I'm sorry because of what he's doing or whatever. And they don't get that. But for
All
me,
they did.
again, my kids, they know. And my sons even say this. When I have kids, the only one that can take care of my kids that actually I'll be okay with, leaving my kids with is my mom.
Yeah.
Nobody else, because they know that I'm not someone that abuses them, but they know that I lay the law down. Like, nope, not in this house.
Yeah.
Your parents' house, maybe, but not here.
No, and and that is a thing, Miss Nexie, that you guys should be so proud of me and like pat me on my back because like I'm not grabbing kids by the back of their necks anymore. I'm
No,
and spin them around. I'm not. What they do
like
in the
they did to
movies.
us.
Yeah, I'm not grabbing them by their necks or lift them up by their shirt. I don't do that. I'm just like that's not nice. And then I get so upset because I've done all this inner work and that's not good enough. I'm like, I was like, okay, calm down. Okay, okay,
Yep.
okay, okay. Calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Okay. But my thing, Miss Nexie, about this party thing that upset me is what if that older lady had got hurt?
Oh my God. Don't even go there. That, oh, no, 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 no.
That
Imagine the
she
lawsuit.
went in there and then she, kind of slipped, but she held on to the door. But what if I'm telling you, I would have went berserk. All my therapy, everything would have went out the window.
It
I was like, forget
will be
this.
non existent. All that
I was
ghetto
like,
would have come
you and
out.
your
What
kid, get out.
the? No, my kids, when I see something like a teenager, talking back to their mom, whatever, or I see a kid being all rowdy, my daughter goes, no, no. Let's turn around. Let's walk away from here, mom. None of your business. Let's walk away. And
Exactly.
they walk me out of the situation because they know that I'm probably gonna grab that baby and bam, 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 bam. No, I'm just kidding. No, but they're
Yeah.
like, mom, no, not your kid, not your grandchild. Let's walk away. Look at those beautiful birds. I'm like, what?
Mhm.
They're like, oh, a
Yeah.
squirrel.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Let's walk away. Not your problem. She's
Yeah,
making it
and
my
go.
problem because the kid is screaming right in front of me. No, 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 no. Let's walk away.
I know. It's like
And Miss
sometimes I
Marlene,
feel like I have Miss Sexy.
oh no, I was gonna tell you, when my kids were little, um, probably like 2, 3, and 5, they were tiny, tiny little tots. I will get invited to play dates, and my kids will come in and they will sit down next to me until I allow them to
Mm,
go play. They wouldn't get up from there until that, because I will say, "Hey,
mm.
can I go play? Can she come play?" And they will look at me, and I will say, "Okay, you can go play now. Be nice." And they're like, okay. So as they started, getting older, whatever, and we'll get invited, they would say, oh, here comes Nexie and her little army, the sergeant and her little army, because my kids were so well behaved. But and Miss Marlene, I didn't use hitting them, force like that. No, I will talk to them and say, if you misbehave, if you're not you don't listen to what I'm saying right now, and you don't practice it in there, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this, and you're not gonna see this and this for like 3 weeks. So you better mind what I'm saying right now. And I was firm. I wasn't screaming, disrespectful, belligerent. I was
Mhm,
just firm. And I
mhm.
wouldn't say anything to them, Miss Mylene. If they ever broke a rule, my eldest daughter, it was hilarious because she will break the rule. I wouldn't say anything. I'll be smiling all the way home. We got home, take away everything. What are you doing? I told you, didn't I? Didn't I say I was going to do this when we got home? I thought, no, you thought wrong. So no TV for 3 weeks, and give me this, give me that, whatever her favorite things were. I will put them in my room and say, you're not going to have them for a week. You're not going to have them for 2 weeks. And that worked. I didn't have to hit him, but I had to
Mhm.
discipline them because there were 3 kids that I was going to throw out into the world, and I wanted them to be good members of society. And the only way we
Right.
can do that is not by mistreating them. It's not by being belligerent to them. It's not by disrespect. It's by teaching them the right way
Yep.
to behave when we're not around.
Yeah. Because I think, honestly, it's about respect. I think initially it starts off with you have to respect your parents. Then it turns into you have to respect other adults and authority figures and etc. I think all of that counts. So, but it starts from the childhood.
Did you read what Manifest Reality said on the on the
Oh,
comment?
what did I miss?
I don't get it. I don't get that. I don't get that. I have 8 babies, not like 305 Caribbeans.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, yes, serious. No home training. Yeah, the play dates. Yes, indeed. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sirius, for the gifts. I appreciate it. Yeah, Miss Nexie, I have to tell you that, a lot of people don't want to talk about this elephant in the room because it makes people uncomfortable to say. But I don't like when I'm around people and they have rude um you like no manners, no boundaries. They don't know how to have any respect for other people. I don't like to have those sort of children around me. I'm sorry. I
Me
I
neither.
don't. I don't. And it's something like you're a bad person because you don't let them do everything they want to. And Miss Nexie, everything is cute. Oh, they're just kidding. You know they're
Yes.
only two. They're only two or they're only four. I was like, yeah, but they know how to sit down and be still. No, they don't. I say, yes, they do.
Oh,
Yes, they do.
Miss
Yes, they do.
Marlene, Miss Marlene, this friend of mine, the one that told me not to say no to her grandbaby, the little grandbaby,
Mm-hmm.
they have 4 kids, her and her husband, 4 adult children, and they have about 6 grandbabies. The one that I'm not supposed to say no to is the youngest one, right? The one that we're not supposed to say no to. But there's like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds. Oh, and let me tell you, so when I got there, I said hi and blah blah blah, whatever, and one of her grandkids was dropped off from in that 15 minutes I was there. The grandbaby got dropped off by the mom from school. She walks in there and she's like, "Hi, baby." And the kid had her phone in her hands. She just looked at the grandma, continued walking, dropped because I could hear the backpack boom landing on the floor, and closed the door and just stay there. She didn't even say hi to her grandmother. Forget me because she doesn't know me, right? If you want to be that type of person, disrespectful, whatever. But she didn't even say hi. She didn't even acknowledge her grandmother saying hi
Mm.
to her. She just looked at her and walked in like nothing. And that's when I looked at my friend and I was like, oh no, I gotta go. I got
Yeah.
to go because knowing me, we're gonna lose our friendship. I will talk to her when I'm calmer, in my sense. I don't want to say it to her right now because I'm upset. So I love my friend. She's a wonderful lady, but I don't freaking know what the heck is going on with those kids. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So from now
I
on,
don't
I'm not gonna be
understand it.
around her when those kids are there. Nope. Not when those kids are there. Nope. Nope.
There's certain things I just won't do because it's certain people. I love them, but I don't love the how they are raising their children, and everybody's entitled to do what they want. But I also have the right to have peace and not be angered and have my blood pressure through the roof. So I just choose
Mhm.
to just don't be around them. And some people have been offended by some things that I've said. I've told some people like I'll be around you anytime, but I can't be around you with your children. So
Mhm.
that's just what it is. If they're offended by it, like I'm sorry you're offended by it, but it still stands.
Yeah, it's again, it's weird because and you know the worst thing is when I looked at my friend, I'm like, I didn't have to say anything, Miss Marlene. When the granddaughter didn't answer back, I looked at my friend like, and she's like, she's 10 years old. You know how they are, and I'm like, I gotta go
Yeah, I gotta go.
before this
Time
mouth of
to.
mine opens. I got to go.
And you know what the
That's what I
thing is?
said. No,
Every-
no.
Everybody who knows me knows this. Anytime I say this, oh, it's getting late. I don't care if I've only been there
Would
five
you look at
minutes.
the time? Would you
If
look at
you
the
hear that
time?
coming out of
That
my
really
mouth,
does.
yep. If you hear that coming out of my mouth, it means I've hit the ceiling. Yep. Yep. I'm
Yeah, no,
full.
no. I do that. Oh my God, would you look at the time? Time really flies when we're around here. And my kids, all I gotta do is like when we go places and I really not comfortable, I don't like it. All I gotta do is look at them like, are we there yet? That look
Yeah.
of help me, save me, help me, save me.
Mhm. And if
But
I
I gotta
notice
teach them,
that
look at the
nobody,
time.
if I notice that nobody is trying to save me, I gotta save myself. So, mm, yes,
Exactly. I gotta go. I really
accountability.
have to go. Like it's so late. It's so late.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes. Manifest discipline is required. So, Miss Nexty, we definitely went over our 30 minutes.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes, Miss Marlene, you were supposed to just be here 30 minutes. I'm sorry about that. Okay, everyone. We're closing this chapter, but it's to be continued. We're closing it
Yeah,
for
we're gonna
now.
but you know what, Miss Nexty, because if Miss Nexty has free time, we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll come back and give you guys a bonus one. Maybe.
Yay. Maybe we can do that this weekend.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, Miss
Thanks
Marlene,
guys
thank you
for
for
being.
having me. And I know that you went over the time that you were supposed to. I know you're busy, but I want to say hi to all the chatters that I didn't say hi to. And thank you for coming and supporting Miss Marlene. And thank you for putting up with me and with Miss Marlene, most of all, but with me too. Thank you. Thank you for supporting us.
Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody. Thank you. Shout out to the mods. Shout out to the channel members and everybody who gave gifts and super chats and everything. I appreciate you guys. We do this sip and chat for us to talk about one thing, but it always goes into something else. And you know what? I really enjoy just having no topic. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like it. I like it a lot.
We
Mhm.
went we went to a dark place, Miss Marlene. We went to a
Very
dark,
dark,
dark
very
place.
dark.
No, but thank you for having me, Miss Marlene. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope everyone also has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, hydrated, and have fun. Don't let anybody else
Yeah,
ruin your fun.
yeah. Thank you guys. And if you're watching in the replay, hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you, everybody. See you
Bye,
next
everyone.
time. Bye.
Bye.